The English Premier League is the richest football league in the world, and now it's being flooded with cash from the crypto world. Well, crypto firms have spent around £130 million on deals so far this season. This as they look to replace revenue from the betting industry, which is declining in the wake of tougher regulations. So let's bring in Emily Nicole, Bloomberg crypto and fintech reporter. So this is another story it's a very interesting story. Why are these crypto companies now growing their footprint in football?
Well, if you think about what the landscape for crypto looked like 2 years ago, it was a big boom. This before we had all the scandals and the collapses that we had then with FTX and Terra. And back then, where people were putting their money was in things like Formula One, those big ticket sponsorship deals. You could sponsor an entire stadium. We have, the Crypto.com Center in LA now instead of the Staples Center. This time around, companies are a bit more cautious. They've learned the lessons from the excess of 2021, 2022, and they're thinking about where can we start getting into sponsorship again, get in front of eyeballs without the big cost, and that's football.
And so are football clubs and also leagues seeking out these deals?
On the one hand, yes, because we've got this gambling regulation coming up. So you've got, there was a whistle-to-whistle ban implemented a few years ago, which means you can't have gambling ads shown between, while a game is live. And then we've also got a deal in the Premier League coming up from mid-2026 where you won't be able to have gambling sponsors in that really expensive front of shirt spot. And so clubs are starting to think about how do we replace that revenue, and crypto is kind of coming in, dipping their toes in the water, and you never know, by mid-2026 when those big spots have to come up, they could be ready to spend the big bucks.
So, Emily, how are the clubs approaching some of the risks, of course, associated with crypto?
Yeah, because, on the one hand, everybody thinks crypto is a really risky business. You'd think they'd have to do extra due diligence, bankruptcies, all those kind of things. They come with that extra level of scrutiny. But football's used to this, right? Gambling sponsors have been causing these issues as well over the years. So we've got things like boilerplate clauses that will allow clubs to get rid of a deal if the crypto company was to bring it into disrepute. They could also do things like ask for payments up front rather than spread over the years, so they get kind of more of that satisfaction early on. And that's the kind of things that crypto companies are facing as they enter as a new kind of sponsor into the sport.
So, Emily, talk to me a little bit about not every club is actually abandoning some of the gambling deals.
Yeah,
right.
Some clubs in the Premier League are still signing them. We've had a few clubs this season sign new front of shirt spots, even though those are the ones that in 2 seasons will be gone. So there definitely is still like a bit of a hanging on to the past. But crypto companies have been saying things like, we'll spend a little bit here now. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the big uptick and the results are of doing a deal like this are for us. And then if it goes well, we'll consider spending more money. And you might see them progress from like those smaller spots on the shirt sleeve to that big prime center spot.